Good morning. Thank you for being here, everybody. We're going to be starting at this moment, Friday,
Hay un poco
February the 10th.
de frío,
So it's a little bit cold,
pero ahora vamos
but now we're going
a
to
calentarnos.
warm up.
Nos da muchísimo gusto estar aquí en Zapopan,
It is a great pleasure to be
Jalisco.
here in Jalisco.
Acabamos de terminar la
We've
reunión
just finished
de
the
seguridad.
morning security reunion.
Estamos trabajando como
We
desde
are
el principio
working as we've
en
had
coordinación con el gobierno del
since the
estado,
beginning in
con
coordination
Enrique
of the
Alfaro,
state
gobernador
government,
de Jalisco,
Enrique Alfaro, the governor,
y vamos a informarles
and we're going to be informing
esta conferencia
of
que
this
se
morning
está
conference
realizando aquí
that is happening
porque
here,
también el día de hoy se conmemora
because
un
today
aniversario
as well
más
it's the
de la creación de
anniversary
la Fuerza Aérea
of the Air
Mexicana.
Force,
Y vamos a
Mexican Air Force,
llevar a cabo, vamos a participar en una
and we're going to be participating
ceremonia, una conmemoración
in a ceremony
del Día de la
of a
Fuerza Aérea Mexicana.
in the commemoration of the
Vamos
Mexican
a
Air Force.
escuchar al gobernador, posteriormente el secretario de la Defensa va
We're going to be
a
listening,
informar
hearing from the governor,
sobre la situación de seguridad en
Secretary of
Jalisco
Defense,
y
and they're going to be
también
informing about the situation,
el
security
general
situation,
secretario
as
va
well
a
as
informar
the
sobre
Secretary
la ayuda humanitaria
is going to be informing us about the humanitarian
en
assistance
Chile para
to Chile
enfocar
to
incendios y lo
finish up
que
with the fires there,
ha resultado
and what's
pues,
resulted in
muy trascendente por
that is transcendent
el problema tan grave
due to
que
the
causó
grave
el sismo en
situation that
Turquía y en
the
Siria. Los sismos
earthquake in Turkey
en
and
estos
Syria,
dos países y muchas pérdidas de vidas
and lots
humanas,
of
se
lives
actuó
lost,
de parte
set the
nuestra muy rápido,
in our
precisamente
parts, precisely because of
porque
that, we've acted quickly,
es
and
eficaz la
it
Fuerza
is
Aérea Mexicana. Se tienen los
very
aviones
important that the Air
y las
Force,
Fuerzas
Mexican Air
Armadas,
Force, and the armed forces have the
en este caso la
airplanes.
Secretaría de Marina,
In this case, the
la
Marine,
Secretaría de la Defensa,
Secretary of
la Cruz
Defense,
Roja,
Red
y
Cross,
fuimos de los primeros
and we were about
países en
among
llegar
the first
a
countries
Turquía.
to arrive to
Y
Turkey.
se va a presentar un informe de la
And we are going to be
actuación
presenting some information
de
of
esta
the
brigada, esta misión que está en Turquía salvando
mission that we
vidas.
have in
Bueno,
Turkey,
pues vamos
saving
a darle la
lives.
palabra
So we're going to
a Enrique.
pass the microphone to Enrique.
Bueno, muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Well,
Bienvenido
thank you very
a
much,
su casa,
Mr.
bienvenido
President.
a
Thank you.
Jalisco,
Welcome to
a la
Jalisco,
secretaria
to the Secretary
de
of
Seguridad, al secretario,
Security,
mi general secretario, a mi
the
secretario
General,
almirante, al secretario de Gobernación,
the Admiral,
al titular de la
Governor,
Guardia Nacional.
Government
A
Secretary.
todas y todos ustedes un saludo, buenos días.
Hello
Fue
to
una
everybody.
reunión por la
So
mañana,
it was a
como
reunion
siempre,
today morning,
productiva,
as always,
que nos
productive,
sirvió para poner sobre la mesa
that
seguridad nacional
worked
algunos de los temas en los que tenemos
to
que
put on
reforzar el
the
trabajo en los
security
próximos
realm
días.
what we need to do
Me parece
in the
que
next few
es
days.
importante resaltar
I think it's
que
important
pudimos hacer el
to stick
balance
out
también
that we
del
were able
año
to do
2022, en
the
el que Jalisco logró consolidar
balance that where
la tendencia a la
Jalisco
baja de la incidencia delictiva.
managed to
Nuestro estado
consolidate
está hoy, cuando hablamos de incidencia
the
delictiva total, donde se
delinquency,
agrupan todos los delitos,
where
ya
we
por
talking
debajo de la
as a
media
whole
nacional.
for the
El
security
mes de enero, que fue un mes
situation. In
complejo,
January, that was a
con
complex month
hechos duros que
with hard facts
generaron
that generated
un amplio debate
well-established debates in the local realm. The security situations are in the downfall, with public security are still going down. As well, we were able to speak to the President those situations that are necessary to enforce. We also spoke about the possibility to work up on the north in a route that is going to be being defined in the next few days with the limits of Zacatecas and Michoacán to be able to maintain the work in these Jalisco areas where we're going to be keeping a permanent presence. We are as well advancing with the strategic of reducing all these situations in security, and we were able to tell the President that we have the ways and means to keep reinforcing their presence, the federal presence in the states. I think they were specific more than anything to make these public. It's to say that we have a good coordination, and we have worked since the beginning with entire meaning to situations that there could be a difference in the realm of security, that there's a coordinated work and based on cooperation and respect, and we think we are doing good. The evaluations you had when it comes to Jalisco, they were up and down, but we will not let go. We're going to keep working. After the meeting, there's going to be an opportunity to be able to tell the President about other Jalisco situations to celebrate 200 years of existence of free and sovereign states, and that we think that we can have an agenda with the Republic of cooperation of the 200 years of Jalisco, and as always, with all due respect and the appreciation that he knows he has from us, and about other situations that he knows he has with us, and so we can work together about the water situation, about all the wells. The line 4 that we're building is working pretty good. Mr. President, it is really good to have you here, and we'll be here for you if you have any questions. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is Angel. I'll be translating every day for you, Monday through Friday. We're going to be informing about the situation in the Estado de Jalisco. And we're going to start with the presentations in Jalisco with 8.3 million of inhabitants, concentrated in 3 municipalities, Zapopan, Guadalajara, and Tlajomulco de Zúñiga, and 43% of those of that population at 3.5 million people. And we will also see how we're concentrating all the delinquency, but at the same time they have the concentration of personnel of public security taking care of this same condition. The delinquency, as far as the administration goes, you can see the delinquency, they have a tendency to go down with the exception of transportation, public transportation robberies, but we got kidnapping to a 28 level. The robbing of vehicles is a 4th place, and the information that we are presenting is up to December of 2022, and that is corresponding to the numbers that the Executive Secretary System of National Security, Public Security has. There's 816 robberies of vehicles were committed in the transportation realm. National is 39 in December. Right here is the tendency is going up. Extortion as well in 9th place. 63% thieveries of the same kind, but tendency to going down. Homicides are going down as well. 120 in December. Tendency is going down as well, and it's really lightly though, but it's working a bit. The robberies to homes, 14th place. As well, you can see it's going down as well. The human trafficking is 25%, 25th place, and is pretty stable, but it is going really slowly going down. In December, there was only one case in kidnapping. It's on the 28th. It is establishing to going up in this state, but the numbers are minimal. In total, the impact strong delinquencies is 4,176 in December, and it's also going down as well. Considering the homicides per entity per the administration until December, it is the 6th place. It's right in the middle with 3,604, and Jalisco has 700.
Esos mismos homicidios dolosos por cada 100,000 habitantes tiene el 11 lugar a nivel nacional.
It's got the 11th place to national rates, and the state continues with 88. When it comes to municipalities with the most preventive thievery, and when it comes to vehicles stolen and narcotic selling, all these 4 municipalities have the 75% of all these delinquencies that are presented in the states. There's 45,265 delinquencies committed of this type, but we're going to see as well how it is concentrated when it comes to the police members. When it comes to the states, we have a total of 7,577. Of those, 6,391 are operational of the municipality police. And then we have municipal, 15,506. Of those are operating 14,058. And in total, there are 20,449 that are in contact with the public and are looking to generate conditions of security. It is important to mention that the systems in C4, C5, more than 6,000 cameras backing them up in security. And we can see the municipalities with more presence of police that coincide with the places that the delinquencies are happening. Guadalajara, of course, has more than 11,000. Tlaquepaque with a little bit of more of 1,000. Zúñiga, it's 842, and Tonalá, 801. When it comes to security forces, federal security forces, you can have and see a presence of the Mexican Army, 5,000 of them, 5,688 are operational, 440 of those as well are present, 6,000 operating to have a total of 14,000, and of those 11,000 are operational. As you can see, that the National Guard in this state is the force of security that has a major presence. The federal forces plus the municipal and states have a 33,063 to guarantee security in the area. These 33,000 work in a coordinated way to work with the National Guard, and 11 municipalities as the state is connected: Guadalajara, Tonalá, Minatitlán, Jojotepec, Zapotlán, Tlajomulco, Zúñiga, Autlán Navarro, Mascota, Puerto Vallarta, Ameca, Zapopan, and Tequila are the ones when it comes to coordinations. And when it comes to construction of the National Guard in 2019, there were 29 installations constructed to a company level, and then 20 of them, one more in Puerto Vallarta. On the 22nd, there was 8. They're still working. We are taking a little bit to do the construction on those because of the terrains. One of them is 46%, and the one behind is 12%. But we are hopeful that at middle of the 2023, these are all ready. All these 8 are ready, and we're going to get the constructions ready in Teocaltiche, 2 in Guadalajara, and 4 in Tlaquepaque. I'm sorry, 12 in Guadalajara. And these are also, there's 4 installations of the Army that were seized for the National Guard, and the intention being that they can operate from there and they can have more heavier presence in the area where we didn't have any closeness for the purpose that we need. In total, there's going to be, at the end of this year, 50 installations at a level of company at national level. When it comes to resources, state and federal, the funding for security in the state receives 429 million, and the enforcement of municipalities of territorial, it's 7,444 million received in total. When it comes to numbers that are presented, when it comes to the government in Jalisco, we have relevant for seizures for marijuana, for the cocaine, 65,000 kilograms of marijuana, 1,900 of cocaine, 1 kilogram of heroin, opium, 96 grams, methamphetamines is 3,842 kilograms, fentanyl, 3.5 kilograms, and pills to elaborate the fentanyl. And there's a total of detainees, 2,479, vehicles seized, 6,208, 1 airplane and 2 ships, more than 2,187 weapons, 219,000 cartridges, and more than 10 million Mexican pesos seized from them, and more than $1.7 million recuperated. When it comes to rescues, there's 219 events where all the armed forces have participated in National Guard with 401 elements and have assisted 210 people in total. When it comes to the DNA, in 3 plan to attention of disasters, there's been 249 events that we have looked after. More than 4,500 people benefited from this, and in this participation, there's been 8,971 members of the DN3 system. In the Marine Plan, there's been 2,500 people sent out there to help out, and in the National Guard, 2,350 with 230 vehicles taking care of hurricanes, rains, forest fires, earthquakes, and everything to do with the earthquakes situation, as well as the locomotive areas and tracks that we've been taking care of. There's been a lot of combustible leaks and such, and when it comes to security, public security is everything. But now I'm gonna go to inform about the humanitarian aid. When it comes to the humanitarian assistance in Mexico, in Chile, we have the mixed brigades of combat to fire that have organized themselves with 300 elements, members of the army. 320 of them are 120 are from the armed forces, 180 are CONAFORT, and among these there's the 10 organized brigades that, among 5 of them, have taken care of Florida, Yumel, and Santa Juana. And this part, that was the first place that we started working on, the Bio region. And the next step, that was 5 brigades left that we used to take care of 10 comunas, or 10 areas, where we actually have people working in this humanitarian assistance of the Mexican team. What have they done? They have this assistance in humanitarian assistance with 291 areas, 291 I'm sorry, acres taken care of. There's 92 kilometers of protection areas and 314 houses covered and protected, and 390 kilometers of complete area cleared up. We have these situations in Chile. There's 26 dead, 2,180 injured, 1,180 homes burnt, and 310,000 acres as well have been burned. As our personnel mentioned yesterday, that is working with temperatures of 35 degrees, but the more complicated situations are still like that because of the time of the year of Chile. That is, there's a change of wind that is constituent to be fighting the situation there. And we also have work that we can show you that our Mexican team is achieving. The next one is the humanitarian force in Turkey. As Mr. President has mentioned, it's been a quick organization. We had the necessity of being able to have enough people to assist quickly in Turkey so that we can help out in the rescue. That was the most important thing that we had, the priority, equipment, K9 units, and to rescue the people in a way that it was organized and it was quickly, the force was quickly assembled. Within 30 hours, this assistance from Mexico with 93 members of the Army, 37 of Marine, 15 of Red Cross, and 5 of external relations. These 150 members, this force was taken in a 737-800 Air Force airplane, Mexican Air Force, with 12 members of the airplane workers, so that we can take this and be able to achieve this, to get them immediately by refueling in certain countries, and so that we didn't have to stop anywhere else where we would have taken longer to arrive with the assistance that was badly needed, as the K9 units as well. And we get there to work to rescue people. And the results that we have up until now about this humanitarian force, we have 3 people. We have the two information, the information of 2, but they said they have rescued somebody else alive. So, recuperated bodies, there's 11 of them by us. We have participated in medical consultation. This team has medical members as well to help out. In total, what we have is 21,051 people dead, 75,000 injured, 655 structures collapsed, 6,055. We have a few videos to show. In the left side, you can see the video where one of the people are rescued alive.
La que sigue, por favor. Estas fotografías también de esta actividad que desarrollan Ejército, Armada.
This activity is the one that the Army, Red Cross, and the Marines are working on.
Adelante los dos. Y de Jalisco 2.
Okay, 2 from Jalisco, this side, and then 2 from Jalisco and Jalisco. Good morning, Mr. President, governors, secretaries. The system of Tabasco, informative of Tabasco. Mr. President, yesterday or the day before, you told us about the visiting of the Cuban president that was going to arrive in Campeche. Nevertheless, we don't have much information about the agenda that you will be having with him. In this situation, can you give us some information about the economical embargo you're going to plant the thankfulness or appreciation that we have for the doctors that have come in to help out. As well, Mr. President, if the president from Cuba will remain in Mexico territory more than Campeche. Well, yes, we're going to have this reunion tomorrow, Saturday. Diaz-Canel president will arrive in the morning. We're going to be receiving him in Campeche. We're going to be visiting the archaeological zone of Desda in Campeche. We're also going to supervise what is being done when it comes to the construction of the Maya train. We're going to have a health reunion because there's medical teams in Campeche and other parts of the country, more than 500 medical, general, and specialties personnel. And we're going to thank the assistance that Cuba, of the brethren people of Cuba, to have in Mexico is a way of health administration, of quality assistance, universal, where free medical attention is given to all the peoples, not only to certain, and that it's free, this medication and the medical attention. This is a promise that we have, that those that don't have Social Security, which is half of the population in the country, can be taken care of in the hospitals, well equipped, and that the sufficient medicines are there. As sadly we've seen in our country, of the privatization of education, it has been rejected for a long time, of the people that wanted to go back to school with the lie that they wouldn't pass the admission exams. Now the result is that our country doesn't have enough medical or specialty medical members that we require. Now we are establishing and forming specialties, the double of what was done before. Either way, there's still a big deficit on that, and that's why we thank the Cuban government that we have these medical teams arriving, and we're going to keep invoking of the same from other countries so that all the health centers in the hospitals, we have the medical assistance needed all 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, not only Monday through Friday, of course. This is a compromise that we have, and I hope by the middle of this year we can have the whole system of medical attention completed for the people without Social Security. It's a feat. It's a great feat. And according to our adversaries, especially the ones that are really mad because they had a business going of the purchasing, better said, of the selling of the medicine, medical equipment, that let's not forget there was 10 major companies that would sell the government 100,000 million Mexican pesos of medication of bad quality medicine, even adulterated medicine, and all this because they had a good relationship with corrupt politicians. And so that ended. Now we are doing international requests for the purchasing of quality medication, and since it was so good that even it was ratified and would get into the information media through a long time, we confronted a campaign that we didn't give any medication, that the kids with cancer were not being taken care of. Everything was all greatly set up to give up, and that we would stop working so that they can keep working on their contracts. 3 distributing companies of medication would sell the government 60,000 million Mexican pesos worth of medicine. Now we have enough medication for this year and the 2024, as well as the medical personnel. And so now we are waiting the arrival of Diaz-Canel president, Cuba president. We're also going to have a bilateral reunion to deal with other situations. And our posture, of course, is the one that has been maintaining the political exterior ways that has been expressed in the UN about not accepting the blockage to Cuba. We consider that, of course, a harsh act and in violation of human rights. You cannot isolate, block a people. Even more when it comes to only about political situations, that's what's to blame on the people. If there's political differences in between countries or ideological differences, why do they have to suffer? It is a flagrant violation of the human rights. We are always going to be demanding that this is lifted, this blockade is lifted for the people. That is medieval, to say, in contrary of what needs to be searched for, a relationship of friendship of all the American continent peoples. So tomorrow we will be receiving the president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, from Cuba, and he's only going to be in Campeche as for now. According to the program, he will be returning to his country this Sunday. He's going to Belize, from what I know, and I'm not sure of any other country, but we are going to be receiving him tomorrow. And about something else that you started this beginning of the year, you were accompanied by a lot of public servants of the nation when it comes to the banks or the construction of the Bienestar banks. What is the current status of the banks already constructed? I do understand that they're still working, the military engineers. Maybe if we could get some more information about how it's going. And at the same time, you had mentioned that this organism is working to receive all the incoming money from our American paisans, North American paisans in the US. So, just wanted to know what is the status of this situation. And if you allow me to finish a Tabascan situation, in a few days, you'd know that Tabasco is going to have a big festivities. They're going to have the fair after the pandemic situation of COVID. They're not allowed them to do these festivities, but I do want to express that a lot of your paisans would like to see or have the minimal possibility, or even there could be in your agenda that you can go inaugurate that fair, or maybe perhaps visit these festivities that I am convinced that you probably attended before. Well, about this real quick, about the last part, I'm going to ask Adan that he can go represent me. Of course, it is a really important fair, this exposition of Tabasco, and since kids, of course, we've been expecting this fair as we have in the fairs of the people from October. That is really, really close to the same, and people enjoy that. It's spring over there, so aside from the heats, people are going out, enjoy of this event, and we're going to ask Adan to represent us there. I'm going to be in my lands, in my country, in my states. I'm going to be Sunday precisely in a reunion about the construction of the banks of El Bienestar. In the case of Jalisco, we are also going to have a reunion, a special reunion in 15 days. We're going to be returning with Enrique to evaluate the advancements of at least 3 programs that we are taking on jointly, what has to do with the Zapotillo Press and 2 aqueducts that will allow more water to arrive to the metropolitan area. This is directly from the governor of Jalisco, that he had mentioned for a long time to avoid the lack of water, and that we have to increment the volume of water to the metropolitan area, and we are working hard on that. This year, of course, there's going to be a lot more water at the end of these years, 2023, and the next year we're going to finish this program, the ending of the dam and the aqueducts. That is what we have for that. As well, it's possible that I visit the new train or the new construction that has been undertaken, and it's a great and important works in the metropolitan area here. And it is very probable that we do make some visits, that we are doing it jointly, The state government is participating, federal government is participating as well, and the initiative, the private initiative, is participating as well. Tripartisan when it comes to financing, and it's going to be operated by the state governments. As well, we are construction with the backup of the military engineers, 129 Bienestar Bank locations. There's 125 municipalities in Jalisco, in a way that in all, there's going to be a Bank of El Bienestar. It's going to be the bank in the middle of the year with more locations. So you can have an idea, more or less, it's in a national level, there's going to be 600,000 million pesos to benefit 25 million people benefited there that have a pension, elderly people for incapacity, young people that are getting their grants to study, for all their programs. It's all going to be spread out through these locations of Banco de Bienestar. And here we only have one location that the state government has helped us out with. And of these 2,700 locations that are being constructed, and as the Secretary of Defense has more than 2,300 finished. 2,717 concluded, so we're at 77% of construction finished of these locations. So we're advancing and we are working together, and it's also important to mention here that in Jalisco, two things. First, that we're going to leave 50 locations of the National Guard in the states, 50 of them, in the entire region of Estado de Jalisco. This, of course, has never been seen. And it's not only the construction of the military establishments, but it's the members of the National Guard that in Jalisco, up to date, we have more than 6,000 members, but it's definitely going to grow. So that you have an idea, think of the fact that during 10 years or a little more, this supposed police, federal police, was maintained, and they didn't even build one police location. And here alone, in Jalisco, the National Guard will leave 50 military equipment locations, and all the inhabitants of the states, working people and progressive peoples, that all these programs are going to continue of El Bienestar. That is how it was in January, that the pension to the elderly increased in 25% in January of next year. Before we conclude our term, there's going to be another increase of 25%, total 50% for the pensions of the elderly, that in the case of Jalisco, it is benefiting up to 700,006 elderly from Jalisco.
Adultos mayores. Bueno, pero eso es lo que te podía decir. Sara.
706. I'm sorry, 706,000 people were helped in Jalisco. Going back to the Cuban state to do a agreement for more doctors to arrive, and also about the public works that we are looking forward to working with the Cuban president. Well, basically what it has to do with the medics, with the doctors, there's possibility that more medical arrivals happen. Let's be honest here. Let's say it. Even if it bothers the conservative wing, I offer my condolences. They worried to make doctors, right? And they have a medical system of one of the best. These Cuban people, and I even told a friend that Maradol papaya was created with a stronger peel so that it wouldn't ruin itself or get ruined. Remember that the papaya before was of a thin peel, so the creation was to fortify that peel to give more life to the papaya. I said that creation, that invention, had been done by a Cuban. So they got mad. Supposedly a good friend of mine, and he dedicates himself to produce seeds of papaya, Maradon papaya. Because I asked him, so what is the seed? He said Maradon, and I said, oh, okay, well that one was created by a Cuban. I said, what? How? How could that be? He said. And now you see how they express themselves so irrespectfully, because their ideological charge beats them. I said, ask your technicians. And so he got on the phone, hey, that the papaya was invented by a Cuban? And he answered, his technical member answered yes. And that's why it's Maradon. It's in honor of two daughters, Maria Dolores. It's like nowadays in baseball, the longest batting averages the home runs in a World Series. Those balls that still haven't landed in a World Series, well, these are Cuban. So I told a friend as well that in the ideological and political realm, we don't get along too well, but in baseball, we think alike. The last one was the Jordan from Houston.
metió un jonrón que todavía no cae la pelota, ¿no?
That he got this home run done that even the ball hasn't landed yet, and a Cuban
10 años,
as well,
también en Serie Mundial, otro cubano,
and another
tienen los
Cuban
dos, primero y
in a
segundo
World
lugar,
Series. They have first and second
el
place,
batazo más largo.
and the longest batting distance
Dime, no,
of a home run. First and second
tuvieron que
place.
venir de Cuba,
So they had to
tuvieron que
arrive
salir
from
de
Cuba. They
sí,
had to get out of Cuba, I said.
pero esos
Yes.
tomaron lechita en Cuba.
But they drank milk in Cuba. So
Por eso macanean así.
that's why they hit like that. That's why they bat so hard.
La política
Because political, social
en Cuba,
political in ideology in
le
Cuba
da preferencia
gives preference
a
to
que los niños
that the
no
kids,
falte la leche.
there's no lack of milk.
Un gran amigo
A great friend
mexicano falleció con el COVID.
that died in
Dijeron a la
COVID.
vez que era pues el encargado de los asuntos operativos de Soberón. ¿Cómo se llama esa empresa? El CIES. Sí, lamentablemente falleció.
CIES, sadly he passed away, and
lo respetaban y lo quieren
they respected
mucho,
him, and then he was liked in Cuba because he had been in Mexico
por el bloqueo,
because of the blockade,
como encomienda, y lo hacía
as a order, and he did it with a lot of love.
Pues la tarea de conseguir la leche,
the work to
para los niños,
get the milk for the children.
Entonces, sí, vamos probablemente a hablar.
So we're going to probably talk about
reforzar el convenio de
reinforce
salud,
the health
porque tienen
departments,
médicos generales, tienen especialistas,
because they have general medics, specialists.
Nosotros tenemos ese problema.
We have that problem. We need more specialties. Doctors,
nos faltan pediatras,
pediatrics,
en los hospitales,
in the hospitals,
y necesitamos tener
and we need
especialistas médicos.
Medical
y si ellos
specialists,
todavía tienen
and if they still have
vamos
general medical specialists, we are going to widen the agreement, and we're going to talk about the balasto, which is a rock that is utilized, and that is really strong for the railways, for the trains,
y no en cualquier parte hay balasto.
And you can't get the ballast just anywhere. In all the southeast, there was none, but starting from the Tuzla, Veracruz, then you could see it, but when it comes to the southeast, towards the peninsula of Yucatan, there's nothing. There's big banks of those rocks, but this rock is almost like steel that we need to ensure the railways and the trains. So that rock, you can see, you can find it as you find it in Tuzla, you can find it in Cuba. And a lot of it is being utilized because it's a great works. And I repeat, there's 1,554 kilometers of railways. 1,554. It's like going from here to
Yucatán,
to Yucatan, to Mérida, from Jalisco to Mérida, more or less.
Entonces,
So then,
se está suscribiendo un acuerdo
and
para
there's an
traer
agreement
esa piedra, ese
been
barazo
written to bring that rock
hacia la península
towards the
de
peninsula of
que está
Yucatan
relativamente cerca
that
por barco.
is relatively close by boats.
¿Se tiene algún monto, alguna cantidad
No,
invertida?
Is there
no,
any
sí se tiene, pero no tengo
investments
el dato.
quantity?
Gracias,
Yes,
presidente.
there
Preguntarle
is,
del
but I
tema
don't
de la
have that.
inflación, porque se
And
había
speaking
logrado
about
bajar un
inflation, we
poco
have
en
lowered
noviembre, octubre,
it
pero
on
ya
November,
diciembre y
October,
enero
but December
repuntó.
and
Ayer
January
también el Banco de México
it
pues anunció
went up
esta
again.
subida en las
Bank of
tasas de
Mexico
interés.
announced
Si se
these
tiene
increments in
previsto
the interest.
nuevas medidas, usted había dicho que
Are
ya
there
no,
any measurements
pero a
been
raíz
taken?
pues, de
You
estos
said no,
resultados
but
en los dos
according
últimos
to
meses
these
de
results in
enero
the
y
last
de
few months
diciembre.
of
Sí,
December
yo creo que
and
ya
January.
es
Well,
el último incremento que
I
por
think it's
cierto
just the last
no
rise
fue
that we are getting.
Muy superior a lo que se esperaba.
This last increment wasn't really
No
much
llegó
more
ni a un
superior
punto. Está
that it didn't even arrive to a
7.7.
7.7.
Anualizado.
Sí, anualizado, pero en el mes.
Yes,
Entonces,
but that was per year. No, that was per
pensamos que
month.
va a bajar
And
más,
we know that it's going to go
pero
down,
no vamos a dejar de
and we're not going to stop
enfrentar el problema inflacionario.
to confront the
Preocupa y
inflationary
nos ocupa,
situation. It worries us,
pero
of
no es
course,
para alarmarse.
but it is not to worry.
La política del Banco de México pues es autónoma.
Political
Ellos
bank situations is
deciden
autonomous.
aumentar la tasa
They decide to add the
y nosotros respetamos su punto de vista, ¿no? De lo que están llevando a cabo.
of inflation.
Yo quisiera que el Banco de México no solo
So you agree with that?
se
I would want
ocupara del control de
the
inflación,
Bank of
sino
Mexico
también
to control
que
the
pensaran en el
inflation
crecimiento
numbers,
económico.
but that they would
Porque
think
esa fórmula de que
of
sí
economic
hay
growth, because
incremento de
this
inflación,
formula that
aumentar las
there
tasas
is,
es lo que se aplica a nivel mundial.
if there's inflation,
Entonces,
then you
lo
add
ortodoxo,
on the
y habría que
rates,
pensar en
inflation
otras
rates.
acciones, por ejemplo, lo que estamos haciendo
It's
de apoyar la
incredible
actividad
that
productiva,
backing up the productive
de no aumentar los
activity,
precios
not to
de
increase
las
the
gasolinas,
prices
del
of the
diésel,
fuels,
del
diesel,
gas, de la luz,
gas,
lo que
lighting,
estamos llevando a cabo.
what we're
Eso
working on.
no lo hacen, no lo recomiendan.
This is not done,
El
it's not
Banco de México ni
recommended
los bancos
by
centrales en el mundo.
Bank of Mexico nor any other bank
Entonces,
in the world,
sí,
centralized bank in the world.
deberían de ocuparse
Yes,
más
so they would need to worry more
en
in
impulsar el crecimiento, no
pushing
solo en
the
el
growth,
control de
not only in
inflación.
the control of
Sin
inflation.
embargo,
Nevertheless,
nosotros hemos sido y vamos a seguir siendo muy
we've been and we're
respetuosos
going to keep being
de la autonomía
very respectful of the
del Banco de
autonomy
México. También aquí
of
aprovecho
Mexican
para
Bank.
decir
And
que,
I take the time here to
se aumentó
say that there's been
7.8
a 7.8% according to
el
inflation,
cobro en casetas,
the charge
pero hay
in
2,
the
3,
toll booths,
4
but there's about 4
autopistas en donde
roads
los
where
concesionarios
the companies
incrementaron más.
added more.
Ya se va a corregir.
We're going to fix that.
Ayer hablé con el secretario de Comunicaciones.
I spoke
Ya está hablando
to
con
Secretary of
estos
Communications, and
para
he's speaking to
que
those
bajen.
companies so that they lower those increments.
Algunas autopistas en Nayarit,
What roads are you talking about? A few
En
roads in
Sinaloa.
Nayarit and in Sinaloa.
pero también
But of
para
course,
que haya información
so that there's information
sobre este tema.
about this situation.
Finalmente preguntarle, ayer vio otra vez a la ministra
And
presidenta de la
ask
Suprema
you,
Corte,
you
la
spoke
saludó
to
después de pues
and
toda
you
la
saw
polémica
the
que se
ministry
generó a raíz de estos últimos días.
of the court
por el tema que no se
because of the
levantó cuando usted
situation that
entró.
happened when she didn't
Si
get
usted
up when
tiene
you came
previsto
in.
una reunión con ella, con
Are you
el
going to be
presidente
joining
anterior de la
her
Corte, se reunía
to
periódicamente
speak
para tratar ustedes y algunos
and
temas, como
deal
por ejemplo
with
el de
a
Ayotzinapa?
few situations of
Entonces, si
the
no sería
Ayotzinapa
momento
situation?
de un encuentro
Wouldn't it
a
be
nivel
time
institucional, por
to
supuesto, para tratar
institutionally
este
get
tema
together
y,
with
por
her
ejemplo, el
to
asunto
speak about
del
this?
Consejo de la
And in
Judicatura?
the
Ustedes han
a
lamentado la actitud de
judiciary
algunos jueces que benefician de algún modo con sus
situation
sentencias a
that
los presuntos delincuentes. Si
give
se prevé
sentences,
algún
long
encuentro
sentences,
en el corto plazo, y si
and
no,
that
sería
try to
necesario.
minimize, and
Gracias.
it would be
Pues sí, ya
that
hace
be necessary
falta,
to
sí,
readjust.
pero
Yes, of
ahora,
course. I mean,
pues
now
no tenemos
we don't really have
necesidad
necessity
porque
to,
somos pues respetuosos de la independencia
because we are
de la
very
autonomía
respectful
del
of the
Poder
autonomy,
Judicial.
independence of the judicial system.
Los medios de información
The media,
que no
information
nos ven con
media,
buenos ojos,
that don't look upon us
que
rightly,
nada más son la mayoría,
that it's only the majority,
manipularon
they
mis
manipulated
palabras
my words
que dije que la ministra
that
era
I supposedly
presidente
said
porque
that
ya no
the
era como
ministry was
antes,
president, because
y
it
que el
wasn't like that
presidente de la
before, that the
República
president of the republic
era el que ponía
was
y
the one that
quitaba
would
a
put
ministros,
or remove ministries,
y que ahora nosotros
and that we are
somos respetuosos
the ones
de la
respecting
independencia
of the independence
de el Poder Judicial,
of the judicial power,
porque la práctica
because
por
the
décadas, por
practice
siglos, era que la
for
Constitución
decades, for
se
hundreds of years,
respetaba en
it
la
was
forma y se violaba
that
en
the
el fondo.
Constitution was violated but respected.
Supuestamente había división y equilibrio de poderes,
Supposedly there was an equilibrium
pero en
of
realidad
powers,
el
but
poder de los
really
poderes
the power of
era el
powers
Ejecutivo
was the
y en
executive
especial el
office,
presidente.
especially the president.
Pero todo esto se olvidó.
But all this, of course, was forgotten.
Es como
It's like when,
el caso de
in the
García
case
Luna,
of Garcia Luna,
no aparece en los medios,
there's no media there.
no es nota.
It's not a big deal.
Ayer, por ejemplo, hablamos
Yesterday, for example, we spoke about
de que se amparó
that there was a
a uno de los
protection
colaboradores cercanos
of one of the
a García Luna,
close co-workers of Garcia Luna, Cárdenas Palomino, I think it was.
y les puedo
And I can tell you, I can guarantee
que en la mayoría de los
that in the majority of the
nota.
newspapers, it wasn't a big deal.
Fue nota
It was in
que saludé a
that I
la
said hi
presidenta,
to the president of the
o que no la
judicial
saludé.
system, or that I didn't say hi to her.
Pero
But
el tema
the
de
real
García Luna
situation, Garcia Luna's situation,
está
is
vedado.
forgotten, banned.
García Luna no se toca,
Garcia Luna is untouchable.
pero no tendrás ahí
But
cómo están
might you have
los
the
titulares de los periódicos, las
the
8 columnas,
newspaper headings,
porque en una de esas sí
the
me
8
equivoco
columns,
y sí
because
está
one of
Palomino,
them
¿no?
is,
O sea,
maybe I'm wrong, and
porque
they do speak about
unos
Palomino, right? Because
magistrados del
some
Tribunal
magistrates of the tribunal,
Federal
federal tribunal,
lo exoneraron, ordenaron que
exonerated him,
se
and they
le
ordered that he
descongelaran sus cuentas.
would get his accounts back to
A ver si hay
usable
nota.
state, unfrozen bank accounts.
Ahí está el Reforma.
There you go. This is
Sí hay
Reforma.
nota, pero en contra nuestra.
It is a deal, but against us, of course.
¿Dónde está lo de la ministra? A ver, préstame.
Where's the thing about la ministra,
Es que eso
the
no
ministry?
había pasado
This hadn't happened
más de 100 años.
in more than 100 years.
desde la época
since those times of
el presidente Madero,
President Madero,
la prensa
the press
no había atacado tanto
did not attack so much
a un presidente como ahora.
a president as is doing now.
Y es un timbre de orgullo, ¿eh?
And that's a
Porque eso
fact of
significa
pride, because that means that there's liberties going on.
Y también que algo
and as well that
está sucediendo.
Something is happening.
Porque antes no era así.
Because it wasn't like that before.
Antes
before
le quemaban incienso
they would burn
al
incense
presidente en turno.
To the president
era
elect.
Aplaudir
and
y
it
callar.
was to applaud and be quiet. Applaud and stay silent.
Aquí está, mire.
Here it is.
Que la dejamos en la orilla
that we left it on the side here. Look.
A la ministra.
To the ministry. That we left her on the end.
¿Y dónde está lo de Palomino?
And where's Palomino's situation?
Pero ni en la 34, sección
Not
B.
even on the 34, section B?
Bueno, a ver otro.
Well, let's look at another
Universal.
One. Universal.
Ah, está el saludo.
Oh, even the salute there.
Bueno, cuando menos ya. Ahí no.
Well, at least we didn't leave her on the end, right?
¿Y dónde
This
está lo de
time.
Palomino?
And where's Palomino again?
Tampoco.
Nothing.
No es nota.
It's not a big deal to them.
Milenio.
Milenio.
El saludo y la captura de Lupe Tapia.
The salute with the
¿Y lo de
ministry
Palomino?
and Lupe Tapia's capture. But what about Palomino again?
Tampoco, ¿ah?
Nothing.
Nada.
Nothing at all.
A ver si hoy
Let's see if we can, finishing the conference today,
vuelves a repetir lo de Pablo Gómez.
you can repeat that from Pablo Gómez situation
En la página nuestra.
in our page.
Porque es que a lo mejor no
Because it's maybe
se
that
dieron por enterados, sí.
they didn't know.
Excelsior. Palomino.
Excelsior. Palomino.
Palomino no, pero García Luna, ¿dónde está?
No Palomino, but what about Garcia Luna?
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Ah, sí, aquí sí está.
Here you go.
Aunque con lupa, pero está.
It's so small, but okay, it's there.
Adelante. Ah, ahí sí.
There you go. This one is showing Palomino.
Díganme si no es nota.
Tell me if
que el gobierno de México
it's not a big deal that the Mexican government
haya presentado una denuncia
had presented
de
a
carácter civil
complaints of a civil nature
en Florida
in Florida
por
for
un presunto
a
desvío de
supposed
fondos públicos
deviation of public funds equivalent to $745 million.
¿Callar eso?
To silence that?
Adelante.
Okay, go ahead.
¿Cuál otro? ¿Ya?
What's the next one? Is that all?
Ah, el financiero.
El financiero, okay.
También.
So there it is. That's my salute to the ministry. That's in top headlines. Is there any more? Economist? El economista?
Ya.
Okay, that should be all.
Esto es lo que está pasando.
That's what's happening. This
en la llamada prensa nacional.
Is on the supposed national press. So-called.
Aquí en Jalisco es distinto.
And I'm sure here in Jalisco it's different.
Aquí sí. Hay más
Here we do have more openness about situations.
Ya. Vamos.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. Maria Luisa Estrada from the Jalisco state. And speaking about security, I was going through the numbers that Secretary of Defense had provided us, and there's a question here. First one is, why is the people that have been disappeared and kidnapped and not found is not a number there? According to national numbers, Jalisco is number one in the disappearance of people. I had spoken with you already. We are women, and we need to be perseverant. And it's a great situation that is happening in Jalisco. And just one case, Octavio, that his family is outside. Since his son, their son, it almost seems like the earth opened up and ate them. They went to Huentitan to exercise, and nobody knows of it. There's 100 and some cameras in C4, C5, and nevertheless, the family members, when they ask for the recordings, they're never given to them. The other one is the fact that I've been paying attention to Secretary of Defense, the members on the entire state in National Guard and Marines, and taking into account the members that are from the Estado de Jalisco. The question is, why are there still people being kidnapped and disappeared? The numbers are almost 16,000 when it comes to the current administration. And the other one that also derives by the same is, why aren't they taken into account, the families of the disappeared persons? There's a point where you're being looked for from all the members of Estado de Jalisco and the unions, because the state government is not answering. So they're coming from Sonora, these family members. This is the second time that we ask a reunion with Secretary of Security, with Rosa Isela, that I do have to mention. They looked for me for the reunion, but all the situations with Culiacan came up, and they tried trilateral reunion, and it was held up, this meeting, and it's almost like the earth opens up and eats them. That's the first question. Right? Well, there's a plan, a special plan for that Secretary of Government Alejandro Encina is given that. He's the one informing. He has permanent communication with all the collective parties, with the people that have sadly have their family members disappeared, and he's constantly informing us that one person had asked me for attention, Rosa Isela Rodriguez, Secretary of Security and People Protection. She's the lady that from Sinaloa, of course, is the mother of that disappeared young person, and soon we will have information that we've spoken to Alejandro Encina about the searches. The searches are still being done. It's one of the programs
mayor presupuesto
with more budgeting
en la Secretaría de Gobernación para que
in the Secretary of Governments,
podamos seguir encontrando vivos a
so that we can continue finding alive the people, and we're constantly doing it, and we're going to keep doing it. And that about the cameras, yes, it's really important in Jalisco. That is one of the states with more cameras. We need to look at where these things happened. Sometimes there's no locations with cameras, but we have made detentions because of the web of cameras that we have. And it's one of the states that with more vigilancy after Mexico City with cameras. Can you comment about this a little bit, General? About the cameras? Sorry, about these camera systems that we have in the different cities in the states. They usually tend to be covering important areas according to the studies that the authorities of public security, they identify that could be an area where delinquencies happen. And even though we do have a lot of cameras, we still need more locations to cover. The part that is required, but they're looking for this situation to try to cover these important areas. As well about the members that are present in the state, mention that we need to consider that these members of the guard are operative. They operative and they work in shifts. It doesn't say that they're there 24 hours, and the Marines and the Army, we have a different way of working, but we do cover 24 hours with all the personnel, and we do have ways to give them rest. But that is the force that we have in the state to cover security. And it comes in coadjuvants to conduct the condition of security in the city. Thank you, but Secretary of Defense, I am aware of what you're saying. In fact, I have time investigating this about the disappearance. And literally, it's like the earth opened up and ate them. I'm listening that you're mentioning the municipalities, that there are more vigilance in Zapopan, San Jose, Alcalde Juan José, en Guadalajara, Pablo Lemos, en Tlajomulco, Salvador Zamora. Why isn't Tlajomulco de Zúñiga is where they've been finding clandestine burials? Just 6 days ago, in Tlajomulco de Zúñiga, there was a safeguarding house for kidnapping, and managed to get out and ask for help on the next house. And it ends up in this situation that there's more. They're noticing that there was a house that they managed to rescue 6 people that were already kidnapped there, and with obvious signs of torturing and people dead. And once or twice in the week there's fights in Tlajomulco de Zúñiga. Another thing, in Guadalajara, the presence of National Guard was strong, but nevertheless, it's without any explanation, National Guard moved from Guadalajara. They moved out. And it ends up that robberies with violence to taxis, especially the ones that park next to Tren Ligero and Plaza Universidad. There's 17 cases of tourism that were extorted by members of the delinquency. There's already been a presence of the National Guard there. Now the bodies are starting to pile up again. And this is a situation that is alarming people that live in Jalisco and that we live in Jalisco and that we're going through insecurity in Jalisco. And it was going well. Why did the National Guard move? Why did they stop patrolling? Speaking about Guadalajara Central, from the 28th to the 20th, the delinquencies, fights, lifting up people, and this happens during the day. But this started again after the National Guard stopped patrolling. Of course, it is understandable that there's not enough members by the Guadalajara police, but how is there going to be a member if there's a prototype to get into Municipio de Guadalajara police? It's a thing that it's complex, but I was taking the camera situation. What's the explanation as a security cabinet? And I say with all due respect, why is it that the cameras are asked, especially the people that are suffering these kidnappings, the families, they ask for the videos and they're not provided, they're not given. And just to finish, to know if there is any backing of Syria in geopolitical situations. How is this assistance given? And I'm asking because of the sanctions that Syria has, and because we have a contact of a colleague that is in Syria, and it ends up that because of this blockade in Syria, there is no assistance there of humanitarian realm of any country. And to know if Mexico is able to give Syria a backing, in which way is there going to be a negotiation through the external relation chancellery? Yeah, the situation about Trajomulco and Guadalajara, it was dealt with in today's reunion. The governor spoke about it. It's the municipalities where there's been an increment of the delinquency incidences, but in general, in Jalisco, there's a tendency of lowering delinquency. We're not painting or switching or changing any numbers. Yes, there's been a minimization in homicides and kidnappings, considerable, and in the case of people that are disappeared, is a work that is doing in coordination with the government of Jalisco. Either way, we're going to be taking your information when it comes to the presence of the National Guard. There hasn't been reports of personnel being moved. Nevertheless, we are in a process of recruitment, training. We are there's 128,000 members of the National Guard, but we're going to have more than 160,000 We are recruiting, preparing, and this is going to help a lot when this installations of the National Guard are done. When it comes to Syria, we've maintained to take the assistance to Syria. That's the instruction of the Secretary of Relations. He's been instructed to do so. And they informed us in Syria that they're going to be utilizing the Yuma to receive the backing, and we're doing all that works so that there's humanitarian assistance to Syria, because Mexico has a politic of friendship with all countries, independently of the differences that there can be in the regions or the hegemonian powers being there. We have a politic of friendship with all the peoples of the world. So yes, we are looking into that. It is, of course, really probable that starting today, there is a conduct, a way to send humanitarian assistance. Thank you, Mr. President.
Buenos días. Yo soy Samantha Gutiérrez, corresponsal de MBS Jalisco.
Samantha Gutiérrez from MBS Noticias.
Yo quiero preguntarle, hoy se cumplen 2 meses de la desaparición.
Today is 2 months of the disappearance of the cavalry colonel Munoz that happened in Jalisco. We have not been informed about any investigation that's happened.
Pronunciando a través de redes sociales, y la última información incluso que nos dio a conocer el gobernador de Jalisco.
And speaking about the government of Jalisco, and about the information about the attraction of this information, is the colonel still been looked for, and that would be my first.
Gracias.
And in relation to the search, we have not stopped that activity. We are still performing intelligence presence in the area, and based on the information that we've been obtaining, we are changing in some areas. There's been seizures of one of the brothers of the persons that we know is involved, that kidnapped the colonel, and we've done the seizures of their properties as well with the civil authorities, and we have not found yet the person that kidnapped the colonel. And we have our military police that, with the government, with the judicial government as well, looking into it, working with them, and we haven't stopped. We have a contact with the wife, direct contact with the wife, and we are informing her of all the movements and actions that we are performing. Matter of fact, it's been an important element because in some cases, for example, clothing, she has been providing us and identify if they belong to him or not. But there is a permanent contact. We have not stopped having that contact with her, and we keep backing the family when it comes to everything that she needs when it comes to anything that she needs. And when you say that the wife was able to identify some clothing, you mean that he is no longer alive? Yes, there's been a while that we're working on this, and that he might not be alive, but we're still not going to stop until we have found him. And if he's not alive anymore, we're not going to stop looking for the body, but there are things that we found in some installations. Can you tell us precisely what location that is? Where he was kidnapped? In Tapalpa, or was the vehicle found? No, it was in Tapalpa. It's a group that is with Jalisco Nueva Generación Cartel, and precisely it was a situation that with the government we can establish a National Guard location, and Mr. President had gave us the authorization to be able to use this. And what is on the states that we still don't have the lands, and that is switched, that we can bring in another team that has presence with those delinquents. And Mr. President, the other question I wanted to do is, what is the report that you have with the problems of insecurity with the limits of Zacatecas? The governor of the state has commented us that he doesn't even answer the phone. And the truth is that the people are scared. There are disappearances. People don't even travel through those roads that connect those states. And it looks like the organized crime is even more organized than the authorities. It's so much so that they even have control of that part of Jalisco that it coincides with Zacatecas. I'm sure you know it's the 4 young men that are kidnapped and assassinated, and the bodies found in Tepetongo, Zacatecas. But there's no information about that, and I'm not sure if it makes a difference the fact that the governors are from a different political parties and they're washing their hands. The truth is that the people are scared, not only in the population, but with the municipal, the mayors. They've stopped them, retenes. What is the real situation of what's happening on those areas? Well, there is a participation of the delinquency members. We are working on it. And the affiliates of the governors and the mayors, we are taking care of it jointly. And Secretary of Defense is responsible. So the responsibility of the authority is responsible. So they're going to be the ones that are admitting, because if you drive through the road, yes, of course, it's not a justification that we're doing, and it's not comforting, and much less for the family members, but it's minimized. The problem has been minimized of the insecurity. The same thing through the limits of Michoacán, and we are working from the federal realm, because in the case of Zacatecas, there's a lot of communication with a lot of the states, and when it comes to military zones, close to Zacatecas as is the National Guard. There's a fence, a security fence towards Zacatecas, and that is established as a strategic move, and it's given us results. Yes, we are working on the situation. Even to say that we've proved it with numbers. It's really sad what's happening. This is not a quantitative situation, it is a human situation. Do you know why the 4 people were assassinated and that were picked up on that road? Yes, we do have some information about that. It is all being under investigation. There is no delinquency situation that is not being investigated. It's not like before to say that there was impunity. All of this is being searched for, taken care of. We are material, intellectual actors of these offenses, and it wasn't like before. It isn't like before that where police and authorities would work together. It is different now. Of course, these are problems that grew a lot in the entire country, and that we are confronting them, and we're going to keep confronting them, and there's results. When we were with the government, even in Jalisco, you got the numbers. Can we put a Jalisco number situation about homicides? And I'm putting that because it's not a number that it's black, it's or negative. Because even in kidnapping, there's been a diminution, but sadly, this is a situation that is not denounced 100%, like robberies. But what has to do with homicides is the closest we have to what happened. The same thing as the robberies of vehicles, because people denounce that more. These are the results. This is what was presented today. But look, this is 18 from Jalisco. If this tendency keeps on, it almost looks like the national tendency. That's how it went. What was done nationally was to contain, but here there was a whole year. Nationally speaking, it was 2 years. It started going down a little bit in the 21st, and then on the 22nd, there's a diminution. But this proves, this is 22, up to the 18. We're speaking about of around 300, a little bit more, homicides less. If you can see, we are advancing. I'm not sure if you have, Enrique, other numbers about homicides. That's what's happening.
Pues lo mismo.
But
Tienes la
in a
gráfica
national
nacional
level,
de
you have
homicidios.
the national graph.
Oiga, presidente, y
That
mientras
part.
le buscan la
And
gráfica,
while the
solamente
graph
una
is being
última pregunta.
found, one
¿Por
last
qué
question, Mr.
removieron
President.
al
Why
capitán que era
was
el
the
comisario de
captain of
seguridad pública
the
en Puerto
sheriff
Vallarta?
of Puerto
Se habla que
Vallarta
prácticamente se hizo a un
Public
lado a la
Security?
Marina
It's
en
mentioned
Puerto
that
Vallarta.
the
¿Esto es
Marines
así?
were put aside. Is this so?
No se removió, lo planteó el presidente
It
municipal.
wasn't removed. He
Él
wasn't
tiene la
removed.
facultad
The
de
municipal
hacerlo.
president,
Nosotros lo que hacemos es
local
apoyar
president,
a las autoridades locales cuando nos
and what we do
piden
is back up
que
the local authorities
un
when they
marino,
ask
un
us
elemento
that
de las
a
fuerzas
Marine or
armadas,
armed
sea de
forces
marina,
element
sea
or member
de
is
la
from the Marines
defensa,
or of the defense
ayude
to help.
y lo aceptan
And
los secretarios,
if the
se
secretaries
apoya.
accepted,
Como la
then that's
tendencia es
backed
a
up.
que ocupen
It's,
esos espacios
I
precisamente
mean,
gente de la
is that
Marina, de
the
la Secretaría de la
tendency
Defensa
to
Nacional o de la Guardia
keep
Nacional.
those
Se está
spots
Llama mucho la
covered by
atención que lo
the
hayan
security
quitado,
or Marines or Army.
removido.
It's
Sí,
funny
pero es
that they
una
took them
facultad del
away.
presidente
But
municipal.
yes, but that's
Sin
something
embargo,
that the
se está
municipal president
atendiendo el
can
caso,
do. Either way,
porque queremos saber
we're taking care of that case
cuál
because
es
we
el
want to
motivo
know
de
what
fondo
is the
De que lo hayan removido.
motive
hayan
of
removido.
they have removed him.
Se investiga.
Sí,
It is being investigated. Yes.
todos los días.
Yes,
Ya,
every day.
ya no es como antes. ¿Qué pasaba antes?
It's not like before. What would happen before?
Los presidentes
The presidents
encabezaban reuniones de
would have
gabinete todos los
the
días, de 6 a 7
reunions
de la
every day
mañana.
from 6 to 7?
No,
I don't think so.
si acaso
If anything,
les daban un reporte
they'd give him a report
cada semana,
every day,
cada 15 días,
every
o cuando
15
habían
days, or when
asuntos
there was
pues muy graves, ¿no?
very
Ahora
grave
no.
situations. Now,
Usted me pregunta de Vallarta,
you ask
y
me about
contesto.
Vallarta, and I'm answering.
Usted me pregunta de lo que está pasando
You ask me
en los
about what's
límites de
happening in the
Zacatecas con
limits of
Jalisco, y
Zacatecas with
contesto.
Jalisco, and I'll answer.
Y estamos todos
And
trabajando
everybody here is working together
de manera coordinada
with a
con
coordinated
los
way
gobiernos estatales, en
with
el caso
the
de
state
Jalisco,
governments, in the case of
con el
Jalisco,
gobernador
with the
de
governor.
Jalisco. Tienes el me gustaría la gráfica
I would like
nacional,
to see the national graph,
porque
the
esto
chart,
tampoco
because this as
lo
well,
van a ver en los periódicos, ¿no?
you're
Con
not going
todo
to see
respeto.
this in the newspapers, of course, with all due respects.
Por eso la gente ve tanto la mañanera.
That's why a lot of people
No es
watch the
para presumir.
mañaneras, not to show off or anything.
Pero es que hay cosas que no se ven.
But there are things that you can't see anywhere else in other media.
De repente, ¿no? Bueno,
Every now and then, well, we can see it,
la revisión.
this revision.
Pero me gustaría más
But I would love
la de
to have
por sexenio.
the one that we have per term.
Porque de esto no se
Because
no
this
se
one, you
habla.
can't really, you can't,
Y luego
they don't
también
speak about this.
la de
And then the other one
letalidad.
with lethality. If we can
Ahora que
prepare
estamos
that,
hablando del
now that we're speaking about
caso de García Luna.
the Garcia Luna case.
Miren, Cosalinas,
Look, Cosalinas here.
el incremento en
The increment
homicidios,
of homicides there,
9.2.
9.2.
Con Cedillo disminuyó.
With Cedillo, there was a
31.2.
31% diminution.
Con Fox
With
aumentó
Fox, it went up
1.6.
1.6.
Miren, Calderón,
Look, Calderon here,
aunque nada más es de oídas,
even though if it's just rumors or
dice
hearsay,
Reforma,
Reforma says,
aumentaron en su sexenio los homicidios casi
homicides went up
200%.
almost 200%.
Pero esto es de oídas,
But that's, of course, rumors or hearsay.
no hay pruebas.
There's no proof.
Con el presidente Peña Nieto,
with Peña Nieto president,
59%.
59%.
Y con quién ya saben,
And with
ya
you know
saben con
who,
quién,
or you know with who,
con todo el esfuerzo de
with
los que
all
están aquí,
the effort
de muchísima
that
gente,
are here, and
esfuerzo
a
y
lot of people,
sacrificio,
and sacrifice,
hay una disminución
there's a diminution
de
of
10.8.
minus 10.8.
Entonces, nos está funcionando
So it's working,
la estrategia y lo estamos
the
haciendo
strategy, and we're doing
sin
it
violar derechos
without
humanos.
violating the
Antes,
human rights. Before,
el Estado era el principal
the state was
violador
the main
de los derechos humanos.
violator of human rights.
Lamentamos mucho
We are deeply saddened that
que hay
this has
un matiz
disappeared, but there's a
importante.
equality
El
there.
Estado no permite
The state doesn't allow
que se lleven a cabo
that
torturas,
there's
ni
torturing
masacres, ni desaparecidos.
nor massacres
No
or
hay lo que había antes. Y miren esto,
people
lo que
missing.
había, que también, según el Reforma, es de oídas.
And look at, according to
Este es el
Reforma
índice
as
de
well,
letalidad.
this is the lethality and
¿Qué significa esto?
measures. What does this mean?
Significa
This means
que
basically
se
that
tiene registro
there's a
de las
registry
agresiones
of
o
the
enfrentamientos
aggressions or
entre autoridades,
confrontations
las fuerzas
between
armadas
authorities, armed forces,
y la delincuencia.
and delinquency.
En 2011, este es el periodo de la guerra que declara Calderón. ¿Cuántas agresiones? 1076.
This is the Calderon period of the supposed war against crime.
Civiles y heridos detenidos. 1127.
Non-military people dead or detained,
Asesinados.
1,127.
1402.
Killed,
O sea, más
1,412. Meaning
fallecidos,
there's more dead
heridos y detenidos
than
en los
hurt or
enfrentamientos.
detained in the confrontations.
Porque era
Because it was more,
rematarlos.
it meant to really kill
Era
them.
matarlos en caliente.
It was kill them on the spot.
¿Dónde estaban entonces
Where were they?
las organizaciones defensoras de derechos
These
humanos?
organizations of human rights defenders. Where were they then?
Esto es lo nuestro.
This is our numbers here.
Enfrentamientos o
Confrontations
agresiones.
or
409.
aggressions, 409.
Heridos y detenidos.
Injured or detained,
584. Fallecidos.
584.
243.
Dead, 243.
Es el índice de letalidad
That is the measurement of lethality, lower
del 22.
lethality in the starting from the 2022
desde el 2009.
since 2009.
Este es el segundo.
That would be the second one.
Y esto es con resultados.
This is due to results.
Vamos poco a poco
So slowly we are
para
advancing
garantizar la paz y la
to guarantee the peace and
Como vamos
tranquility.
a regresar en
As we're going to
15
be
días,
returning here in 15 days,
en 3 semanas aquí,
in 3 weeks here,
vamos a estar en las presas,
we're going to be in the
el
dams
tren
and in the train,
y viendo las sucursales.
looking at all the Bienestar banks.
¿Qué les parece si
What do you think if we
ya terminamos la conferencia?
finish the
No se
conference?
pueden ahora las tortas ahogadas porque
No, don't try the tortas ahogadas because one of those, yeah, maybe.
en el desayuno.
Breakfast.
Bueno, pues me dio mucho gusto estar aquí con ustedes. Nos vemos.
I was really glad to be here. Thank you very much. Well, there you have it. One of those interesting morning meetings, which is really something to think about when you're speaking in your own state, per se, and then you find yourself in a different state. So it's different questioning, different types of answers that you have to give. And of course, I'm not sure if you noticed, the governor of Jalisco, he was really like, why are you guys asking this, right? So it's really important to understand that the governor of Jalisco has a lot of work to do, and because these journalists are not the same as in Mexico City. So you're getting different types of questions, more direct, and as far as I can tell, and this is my opinion, personal opinion, they were going against the governor, and they were asking him, since he's not doing anything, Mr. President, now that you're here, why is this not being, it's not a thing? And of course, President Obrador has to give his part and back up the governor, even though they're not from the same political party and that they supposedly hate each other. It's really interesting to know that they have to be, they're in the same term, they're in the same team right now. So they need to sort of back each other up, and that's good. But I mean, the journalist that was asking, the little blonde one, she was right. She was right about one thing. These numbers, they're not lying. I mean, look at this. The homicides in Salinas de Gortari time was... The Salinas de Gortari times was high up there. And then you got the rest. I mean, it's not difficult to see here. And these numbers, like he said, the president said, you're not going to see them anywhere else. And so we're showing them to you now. And I'm actually going to put this up so you can see the numbers. Homicides went down minus 10.8%. They were up 59% with Peña Nieto, 192.8% with Calderon, who is really getting busted there in New York with the Genaro Garcia Luna situation. And then you got Fox, 1.6% up. It went down with Cedillo a little bit, and we all know why. 31.2%. And then you got Salinas de Gortari on 9.2% increment. Anyways, thank you very much for being here. I want to go ahead and congratulate all the team that is working with me in the other channel. So please don't forget to go to the link tree that we have here at the bottom so that you can find all the rest of the channels. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Monday with this.